Welcome back to Adventures of a Black Belt Sommelier. Black Belt Adventures of a Black Belt Sommelier is now sponsored by Four Paws Restaurant in St. Paul, Minnesota, the iconic fine dining restaurant in St. Paul. And I actually start there as the sommelier tonight, which I'm excited about. Some of this story that I'm getting ready to tell you, you're going to think I'm making it up. You may think I'm making it up, but as a friend of mine often says, if half your stories are true, you've led the most interesting life of anybody I've ever known. I promise you every word of this story is true. I've told it here before, but these podcasts, they tend to disappear after a while, and I think this one is worth sharing again. Um, about 20, about 20 years ago, I was hired by a national restaurant company called Spinnaker's. Spinnaker's was a chain. They wanted to develop a fast food concept. And in spite of the fact that I'd never even worked in a fast food concept, much less developed a fast food concept from scratch, they hired me to develop this fast food restaurant concept for them. Um, we decided to do a wrap sandwich type place. We called it Market Wraps. We opened the first one at a shopping center in Brentwood, Tennessee, and it was a huge success. Um, right off the bat, it was a big, big success. Unfortunately, the parent company went under, so it never had the opportunity to really become anything more than this one kind of test project. The CEO of Spinnaker's at the time was a fellow named Sam Galbraith. He left Spinnaker's to be the president of a company called Food Vision, which is a content provider for CNN.com, among other things. About a year after Spinnaker's went out of business, Sam contacted me and asked me if I would like to be the wine columnist for CNN.com. Well, you can imagine how excited I was with the idea of being the wine columnist for CNN.com. Honestly, I would have paid them to let me be their wine columnist. But anyway, I asked him what it entailed, and he said, well, we would like you to write a column once a week and answer questions from our subscribers around the world about wine. He said, we'll pay you per click on your page of the website. I agreed. They sent me a contract. It wasn't very much. I don't remember exactly what the amount per click was, but it was a small amount. But I didn't care. I was just so thrilled at the idea of being the wine columnist for CNN.com. So I wrote a column every week, and they seemed to be happy with the columns, and I answered people's questions about wine. The most common one was what kind of wine do you suggest with salmon, and what kind of wine do you suggest with spaghetti? By spaghetti, they meant spaghetti with meat sauce, of course. I got some kind of crazy questions. One guy asked me if I could recommend a wine that would help him with his ED issues, and I suggested Chateau Viagra. A woman in Colombia, South America, not Columbia, Tennessee, or Columbia, Ohio, or anywhere, told me that she really loved the wine they served at her church, and did I know where she could buy it to drink at home? Didn't really feel qualified to answer that question. I told her to ask the people at the church. But anyway, it wasn't a big burden. I probably averaged 4 or 5 questions a day. Didn't take me even a couple of minutes to answer each question there. But as I said, what kind of wine do you serve with salmon was enormously the most common one. About a month into this, Sam emailed me and asked me for a picture to put on the website of me. And in this email, he said, don't just send us a mugshot, send us something with some activity in it. So my agenda for this role as the wine columnist for CNN.com was that my intention was that wine was part of a healthy lifestyle. So I had my store manager take a picture of me holding an imperial of wine in each hand out to the side to show that you could be enjoy wine and be strong and fit and healthy too. I sent that picture off to Sam, and this is when I realized that things maybe were going to be a little weird in my relationship with Sam and Food Vision and CNN, because I got an email back from Sam saying, "Why'd you send us this crazy picture? We just wanted a mugshot." I had in writing from him that he specifically did not want a mugshot. So anyway, I put on a navy sport coat, white shirt, red tie. I didn't know that was going to be a political statement at the time, all these years later, but that's what I put on. Um, um, well, I won't get into the politics of that. If you know me, you know what my position on that is. And I held out a glass of wine in a toast, and my store manager took a picture and I sent it off. About a week later, I got an email from Samson. I might want to check out the website that my picture was up, and might want to take a look at it. By the way, we did some cosmetic enhancement of your photo. Well, I opened up the app, and the picture was of me, my shoulders, my shirt, my tie, my sport coat, my hand, arm, and wine glass and wine, but it was a different person's face. They had photoshopped a different person, man's face onto my shoulder. And it looked real. I mean, it was quite an accomplishment for the time. But they didn't even bother to tell me that they changed my head to somebody else's head. And it wasn't Brad Pitt or Robert Redford. It was just some guy. Anyway, that's when I first realized that things were going to be a little weird with CNN.com. Well, not really CNN.com, Food Vision. About 3 months into this, Sam emailed me or called me and said, "We'd like you to come to Atlanta and be on TV. We have a famous chef coming. He's going to prepare some food, and we'd like your recommendations on wine to serve with the food he prepares." I asked him, "Who's the chef?" He said, "Daniel Boulud." I said, "Well, that's perfect. I know Danielle. I love his food. I'd love to come." He said, "How much would you charge us?" I said, "Well, I don't really need to charge you very much. I can stay with my sister. So no, there won't be any accommodations, hotel fee. Just enough money to cover staffing my store while I'm away from it." And I said, "How about $300?" He said, "Okay." About 2 days later, I got an email from him saying they didn't have $200 in their budget for me to come. So not to bother. $200. CNN.com, $200. So I stayed at home. Um, anyway, this went on and on. I never got paid. And it wasn't a lot of money. I was getting, as I said, I was getting 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 hits a day on the clicks on the website. So it didn't really amount to a whole lot of money. But about a year into it, I took my ex-wife, son, and mother on a trip to New York City. And that when I got back, I wrote that column I wrote for that week was about the wines we drank at the restaurants we'd visited in New York. Coincidentally, one of them was Danielle. We also went to Circo. We went to Balthazar. Um, so we had a nice trip. We drank some nice wine. And as a coda to the article on the wines we drank while we were in New York, I wrote it because we'd been to a Mets baseball game and a Yankees baseball game. I wrote an article on who had the better hot dog, the Yankee Stadium or Mets or Shea Stadium, and uploaded that. Well, all of a sudden, because of the hot dogs and Mets and Yankees, my page on the website was getting thousands and thousands of clicks a day. And because it was getting thousands and thousands of clicks a day, because of the Mets and the Yankees and baseball and hot dogs, not wine, Food Vision didn't change the article. So I started getting, this went on for weeks and weeks. I started getting emails and phone calls professional acquaintances around the world saying you're the laziest wine column on the planet. You haven't written a new column for weeks. And, I'd say, well, I've written one every week, but they don't want to change it because this one's generating so much traffic. This went on for months. No new article, but lots of traffic. And the, it was, the clock was ticking. I was getting lots of clicks. So they were starting to owe me a lot of money. I'd never been paid. I never had received a dime, even when they owed me $15, $25, $100. But now they're owing me a lot of money. The largest search engine in the world at the time was a search engine called iWine.com. They had more subscribers than any search engine in the world because they gave $1 million to one of their subscribers every month. CNN went into agreement with iWine.com that iWine would be their search engine. And on the first day of their partnership, they sent an email to all their subscribers saying, hey, check out our wine columnist. You can ask him questions about wine. They didn't warn me. The largest search engine in the world sent an email to their subscribers and CNN.com subscribers suggesting that they ask me questions. I don't remember how many questions I had when I turned on my computer that morning, but it would have taken me 3 months, 4 months to answer them all, I think, as I remember it. And how would I manage my store and the other things that I was involved in at the time if I spent 24 hours a day answering questions from people around the world about wine? What kind of wine to serve with salmon, what kind of wine to serve with spaghetti, or what to help with ED. So I emailed Sam and said, Sam, unless you're going to pay me in full today, I'm not going to even begin to answer these questions, and I'm not going to write any more columns. You owe me somewhere between, at the time, it was somewhere between $75,000 and $80,000 that I was owed based on the number of clicks on the website. I said, unless you write me a check today and the check clears, I'm done. And I hope you treat the next guy better than you've treated me. Well, of course, I wasn't actually working for CNN.com. I was actually working for Food Vision, and Food Vision didn't have $500, much less $75,000. So I resigned, and I don't think they ever replaced me. Actually, I've never seen another wine column on CNN.com. But of course, I called my lawyer, said, I want to sue CNN.com. They owe me $75,000. And he just laughed at me. He said, well, number one, you'll spend more than $75,000 suing CNN.com before they even realize you're upset. But you don't really work for CNN.com. You really work for Food Vision, and they don't have any money. So you're not going to collect a dime because they're broke. So just mark it up to a good, that your investment of time was resulted in a great story to tell. So I'm telling the story all these years later. So that's the story of my time as the wine columnist for CNN.com. I promise every word of it is true. If you've heard it before, you will notice that every word of it is the same. It doesn't change with the telling. So that's probably a sign that it's true, not apocryphal. I hope if you're in the Twin Cities, I hope you come by and see me at Four Paws Restaurant. I'm excited about this opportunity, about kind of the last chapter of my professional life. And they say they want to build a world-class wine program, and I'm excited about the opportunity to do that. And based on my experience dining there, it's a really, really excellent restaurant. So I hope you'll come by and see me. Thanks for tuning in. As always, have a wonderful day.